This is the first film of a series of 3, which are looking at different aspects of a trial I've set up and been running for nearly 4 years now in this block of ground here, where there are 3 strips with different parameters. So for example, I'm standing in a strip of ground 2 meters wide, 9 meters long, and each little bed in this strip has been dug. Then in the next strip, the same compost is used as in the dug strip, but without any digging, no cultivation, loosening at all. And then there's a third strip where, again, no digging, but different compost. So it's comparing how the same plants grow in these different strips. And this all came about through a chance meeting with some Japanese farmers who practice natural agriculture. And that is a very precise discipline that's been created over in the last 100 years, where they do not ever spread any compost. They do not rotate their crops, so they practice what they call continuous cropping, and they save their own seed for better health and resilience of plants. I can't do all of those here because I'm in Britain, a cooler climate than Japan. Seed saving is quite tricky. I do what I can. Some of the seeds are home saved, and we'll see in a minute that I haven't carried on with the no compost part of the experiment. But let's now have a look, in fact, at the first film, which is comparing growth in dug and undug soil, everything else being the same. I'm between strip 1 and strip 2, so this has had the digging, and initially in the first year the plan was to use no compost at all on either strip. And the results that came in at the end of that year were 41 kilos from the dug strip and 40 kilos from the undug. Not much difference, but meanwhile we'd created a third strip with some compost, and the yield from that strip in 2013 was 62 kilos. More than 50% increase from simply spreading 2 inches of compost. So I thought, no, I can't carry on doing this experiment like this. So we now do dug, undug, but with compost added, except it's different compost to what's in strip 3. So the compost used in the first 2 years has been green waste, recycled garden waste compost, 2-inch layer, and the digging is done before. So it's loosening rather than trench digging, where the soil has a fork or spade put in to loosen, break up the clods, aerate, and then 2-inch compost on top. So that takes about 2 hours here, and then this one, 2-inch compost on top, finish, half an hour. And then same crops, see what happens. And it's been a very interesting experience because actually over the last 3 years, the strip which has yielded 5% more pretty consistently is the no dig, but not for all crops. And there's all sorts of hidden little stories within that, which are shown in the table which is on screen. And you can see that we run this experiment very carefully. So all crops are sown or planted on the same date, in the same conditions. They're given the same level of hoeing and weeding. And then the harvests are made on the same day. Every harvest is weighed, every single one. And the harvests are all of edible quality. We throw out anything that's not usable. And that's given in the last year some quite substantial totals, but again with the no dig bed slightly ahead. So each of the 3 strips has 6 beds, and bed number 6 behind me has parsnips sown in March to be harvested late autumn, early winter. Number 5 here has chicories growing for radicchio hearts in the autumn, and that's the second crop after lettuce. So the lettuce finished already, and we harvested 18.5 kilos on the dug, 20 on the undug. Next up is Leeks. This is bed 4, where we had already potatoes, which gave 13.5 kilos dug, 15 kilos undug. Slightly surprising, yeah, they grew more on the undug. And now we planted Leeks on the same day from quite well-grown plants for harvest in the autumn. Bed 3 has cabbages. And these are beautiful autumn hearting cabbages with long pointy heads, very sweet. And they're a second crop after a big harvest already here of broad beans. 19 kilos. There were more broad beans on the dug bed in this case, 15 kilos on the undug. Bed 2 has Chinese cabbage growing now, very fast growing in early autumn. They're only 3 weeks since we put them in, and they were planted on the same day that we harvested squash. So these squash gave 6 kilos on the dug bed, 14 on the undug. And finally, bed 1, beans, and these beans are for winter, so they're going to be picked, or they are being picked already actually, as dry beans that we put in a jar, and that doesn't give a very high yield, but they're delicious beans. For more information on organic no-dig gardening, check out any of my 7 books on different aspects of this subject, growing vegetables above all. And my website has fortnightly updates to keep you up to speed on sowing, planting, harvesting. And also you'll find information on my website about courses I run, day courses here, weekend courses, courses around and abroad even, and lots more, all about no-dig organics.